battery testing of my 2001 Audi S8 D2, which has random gearbox errors on startup only when the weather is cold. So we can see it's at about 12 volts now. We drop to about 11.6 volts when the fuel pump comes in. During cranking though, we can see it drop down to a minimum of just over 8 volts. And then back up into reasonable charging voltage when the engine is running. So what we'll do now is we'll do the 100 amp drop test using the tester. We can see we're sitting now at about 11.6 volts, and we drop down to about 9.5 on the 100 amp test, well into the weak zone. For this size of battery. This is actually an 800 cca battery, and it only recovers to just over 11. So we've taken it inside now, we've given it a full charge, so at 12.6 volts. When I apply the 100 amp load, we can see it drops down to just over 10 volts and recovers up to only about 12 volts after a few seconds to recover. We'll try that again, down to just over 10 volts, and we recover now eventually up to just 12. So not looking too good. Okay, so now we've got a brand new battery. I've fully charged it. We're up at 13 volts showing on the gauge, and on the drop test we can see it goes down 100 amps down to 11 volts minimum. Once you let that go, we can see it now creeps back up to our 12.6 volts, showing fully charged and healthy. I will give it another test. 12.6 volts there, and when I apply the 100 amp load, we'll see that drops down to 11 volts. And we'll creep back up to the 12.6 showing as fully charged. Okay, so we'll take the new battery and go and install it back in the vehicle. We can see it's in there now, sitting in about 12.2. I've been doing a bit of messing around with the battery, but still pretty good charge. And if we now start the fuel pump, it drops to 12. And during cranking now of the engine, hopefully we'll see a bit less of a drop there. And there we can see it just drops down to about 9.8 volts now out of the bad area, and we can see it's about similar charging, just under 14 volts at the moment. Hopefully that will be the end of my random gearbox errors.